What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Ron 2's Motivation and Conversation, where I am your host, Ron Lyles, and it's my job to make you think and motivate you to keep you going, growing, and flowing into a life of a better and more improved you. And wherever you're listening to me from in the world today, I say to you, hello. Today's episode is definitely a more serious segment today. I know you're used to me giving you all the inspiration and all of the the motivation and conversation, which we're going to have conversation, and we're still going to motivate as well. But I just want to share some thoughts from a parent's perspective on the Uvalde shooting. So, like I said, I know normally I'm hitting you with the motivation, the inspiration, the steps, the definitions, the, this, the that. But today I want to focus on the Uvalde shooting from a parent's perspective. Listen, everything will be in the links, all my social media, all of that will be in the description links. So follow me on IG, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you want to follow me. All of that'll be listed, So I just really want to dive right in. I really want to dive right into this and talk about it. So let's see. Yesterday, I was sitting at my daughter's graduation and her transition into 7th grade. So her school, the way her school is set up, she was in 6th grade, and 6th grade is still considered an extension of elementary. So even though technically in public school she would be considered a middle schooler in 6th grade, in her school she was considered still extended elementary. And so her graduation was yesterday, and so she's transitioning into 7th grade. And I'm sitting at her graduation, right? I'm sitting there, me, my wife, my parents, and my mom in love. And I'm so proud of her, right? So proud. I'm looking at her. All of a sudden, they start showing the pictures from the time she's been attending this school since 1st grade. So they're showing pictures from back her first day of school there, 1st grade. And I'm seeing it, and as a dad, I'm struggling to keep my tears in the inside of my tear ducts. But all I could do while I was sitting there, looking at all the pictures of these kids that I remember and recognize from the time they were little, and seeing them transition into 7th grade, I'm sitting there at my daughter's graduation, and all I could think about were the kids that didn't come home a couple days ago. I'm thinking about the children at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. I'm thinking about the parents. While I'm sitting at my daughter's graduation, I'm thinking about the parents that either one, they dropped their child off, and thought, hey, I'll see you later. Said, hey, I'll see you this evening. I'll be back to pick you up later. I thought about those parents. I thought about that parent. I thought about that parent who might have been in a rush for work and didn't get to kiss their babies goodbye. Didn't get to kiss their child goodbye because they were rushing for work. And so they just dropped them off with a halfway see you later and kept going so they can make it to work on time. I thought about the parents, who had to go to work early and didn't even get the chance to drop their child off to school. And so in their mind, they're thinking, I'll see you when I get off work. And they kiss them before they leave the house, only to find out that their child is not coming back. Or even the person who may have fussed out their child before school started, who may have fussed at them, and didn't get the chance to apologize or maybe end out life on a happy note You know, I thought about all that. I thought about all of that. And so as a parent, from a parent's perspective, as a parent, it just really makes your heart just ache for these parents. It really makes your heart ache for the children that were involved. I was watching a segment and this grandfather, he was on TV, and I mean, he was just bawling his eyes out. He was just crying. He was crying because he couldn't find his granddaughter. So he's calling the hospitals. Hospitals don't have any record of her. He's called the Civic Center where the children were at. Civic Center doesn't have any record of her. And so he breaks down in tears, and he's just literally saying, he's praying that, you know, somehow she was either life flighted or taken out some way before anything could happen. But just the concern and the stress in his eyes, just watching, you know, it really just did something to me. If anybody watches with a heart or a soul, it'll do something to you. Also, even I saw two parents where their 9-year-old daughter was one of the ones assassinated. She was one of the ones killed, and her birthday was next week, June the 4th. Her birthday was next week. And so now you have parents now who literally go from planning a birthday party to now having to plan a funeral. See, these are things that we think about. These are things that I've thought about, that's been on my mind the last couple days. You know, this girl who was supposed to turn 10 next week said all she wanted was a pool party. She just wanted to have a pool party for her birthday and invite her friends over. She wanted to have a pool party, and now this girl was robbed of the opportunity of a pool party. And so this father is sitting on TV crying and bawling his eyes out because literally his daughter is not coming home. 9 years old. 9 years old. A lot of these children are around the same age as my children, as my younger two, you know? And so these things make you think. I was watching a grandmother, this was the 9-year-old's grandmother as well, who got on TV, and she just began to break down on her couch, and she was just like, listen, I look at the door. I look at the door. I'm still looking at the door, waiting for her to walk through it. And the fact that I have to come to grips with the fact that she's not coming, it's just absolutely devastating. It's just absolutely devastating. Then there was one more dad who, he was actually a little stronger. But get this, he even assisted the kids getting out to school, and his daughter was one of the ones killed. But even in the midst of all that, he was still assisting and helping out others. And he said he just wants to be strong for his daughter's memory. I'm looking at all of these things, and I'm weighing it out, and I'm thinking in my head, and I'm just like, wow, like literally you have 19 children that were killed. 19, and you couldn't even tell me that any of their parents would have predicted this. You couldn't have told me that any of their parents had any inkling, any of the grandparents had any inkling that they wouldn't see their children or grandchildren anymore when they dropped them off a couple mornings ago. When they dropped them off to school, top of the week. You can't tell me that they thought in their mind, this would be the last time I'm going to see you. And so from a parent's perspective, I'm speaking now from a parent's perspective, for those of you parents who have children that are still alive, we are blessed beyond measure. Beyond measure. If your child makes it home from school today, matter of fact, some of them For a lot of us, our children, we're winding down the school year. And so some of them, their last day is today. Some of them, their last day is tomorrow. Some of them, their last day of school may be next week, entering into early June. But if you have a child that comes home, I mean, literally, you should be thanking God in the heavens above. Literally. If you ever find yourself so frustrated to the point to where you can't find anything to be thankful for, look at your children. Look at your children. Look at your children. This should shape your perspective of your babies, of your children. A lot of you that used to call your child names, call your children names because they just get on your nerves so bad, because they're so bad, because they're so this, they're so that. Take this time to pour into them. Pour into them. Some of them bad because you don't even pay them attention. You're sitting on your cell phone all day, scrolling. And they just want you to sit down and read a book with them. Scrolling. And they just want you to sit down and watch a movie with them. Matter of fact, your screen time is up. Some of you spend more and more time on your screen, and you're not even looking or even watching your children as they're growing up before your very eyes. So then when they act out in other ways, then you start calling them all these names. Bleep, bleep, bleep. You fat, bleep, bleep, bleep. You nappy-headed, bleep, bleep, bleep. You this, you that. You this, you that. And you don't even realize the fact that they're alive. The fact that they're alive is a privilege. The fact that God has allowed you the opportunity to parent another day is an honor. Because there's a parent somewhere. Let's start with Uvalde, Texas. There's a parent somewhere wishing that their child would come home just so they can give them one more hug. Wishing they could tuck them in at night. Wishing they could kiss them on their head and let them know that everything is going to be all right. Can you imagine the parents that wish they could have just been there to hold them even during the moments while the gunman was in the school? Can you imagine the parents that's living with the fact that their child probably felt so afraid, so alone by themselves? You can't even imagine what's going through a little child's mind at that time. Some adults can't even get themselves together in an event like that. So, you need to be thankful. We need to be thankful. And we really need to shape and change our perspectives when it comes to our children. When it comes to our children, Uvalde, Texas can happen anywhere. Don't you dare just think just because Texas, we all know Texas is an open carry state. Don't sit there and think that just because this happened in Texas, this can happen anywhere. Anywhere. This can happen right at your back door. This can happen anywhere. And so we need to change our perspectives when it comes to our children. Stop looking at your children as an obligation. Stop looking at them as a bill. Stop looking at them as a headache that's constantly on your nerves. But each chance that you get, let them know, hug them, talk to them, sit down with them, see what's on their mind, see what they're thinking. Hold them a little tighter, hold them that much more tighter. Because oftentimes we as parents, we can take things for granted. So we could take things for granted. The fact that we drop them off at school, automatically thinking that we're going to be able to come right back and pick them up. The fact that when we go anywhere, that everybody's going to make it back home in one piece. So we really have to understand how truly blessed we are. how truly, truly, truly blessed we are. Pour into your children. Sow into them. If they have attitude problems, sit down with them and find out what's going on with them. Find out what needs to be adjusted and what needs to be abandoned. Find out some ways that they may have adapted from you. Sit down with them. Sit down with them. This is from a parent's perspective, y'all. Trust me, everybody has different opinions on this. Everybody has different perspectives on this. This is just one parent's perspective. Normally, when events like this happen, I pretty much just talk to my family. We share our thoughts with each other. So this is the first time that I've actually put my perspective on a public forum, on a public platform like this one. But hopefully I'm talking to a parent out there that maybe you can shift your mindset when it comes to your children. Maybe you can shift your mindset when it comes to how you parent them. Maybe you can shift your mindset when it comes to how you do things, the habits, the cycles, the things that they see, the things that they hear. Maybe it'll shift some things around and cultivate and nurture a total different type of relationship. Man, as a parent, to the parents of the students of Uvalde, Texas, Robb Elementary, man, my prayers, my thoughts are with you all down in Uvalde, Texas. And I know that can't even bring your child back. But I just pray that the God of peace and the God of comfort just shield you all down there. That he protects you. That each tear that you cry, that he just comforts you and blankets you with his pillow of love. That God literally watches over you. Whew. That God keeps you. Because really, he's the only one that's going to be able to help y'all make it through this. And to you parents out there that are listening, I thank you, number one, for listening. I thank you for taking out time just to hear my thoughts from a parent's perspective. But we've got some work to do with our children. We've got some work to do. But I just want to admonish you and encourage you and motivate you that much more just to be active in your children's lives. To be active in your children's lives. That goes for mothers and fathers. Be active. Do what you can, while you can, when you can. If you do that, if you try, just try, you'll see results. You'll see results. You'll see results. Understand and know that what you put into your children is what they'll put out there. Somebody might say, I put stuff in them, but they're not really displaying and showing what I put in them. Keep putting, be consistent. Find out where the disconnect is. Evaluate, give an observation. Find out. But just know that you have the power and you have the ability to speak into them, to talk to them. You have the power to motivate them. You have the power to provoke them. You have the power to encourage them. You have the power to discourage them. Okay? So be mindful and know that what you do today could ultimately affect your tomorrow. And each day that your children are alive, each day that God grants you the privilege to be able to parent, is truly a blessing. Listen, I love you all. I thank you all for your time. Thank you all for listening in to another segment of Round 2's Motivation and Conversation. And I'll be back again with another topic to speak on. But this one here, I wanted to take time and really talk about and delve into this. All right. It's my prayer that the parents of Uvalde, Texas, God, that you cover them, God, that you keep them, that you watch over them, that you be with them during these next crucial days, weeks, months, that even when the news cameras stop rolling and stop reporting on this, God, that even when the families have gone back to their prospective homes and the nation as a whole has stopped talking about this, the flowers, the cards, when all those stop pouring in, that God, you will still be there to cover them. God, I thank you now. I thank you now. In Jesus' name, amen.